It's unfortunate, but true. Humans tend to pollute wherever they go, and space is included as one of those environments. The Kessler syndrome is a theoretical scenario in which a finite and small number of in-space collisions can render space travel effectively impossible, at least for tens of thousands of years. To get off this rock, we have folks like Louis Perna of Accion Systems, who explain how his and his team's development of tiny ion thrusters will help solve some of these big challenges, avoiding in-space collisions.
Certainly, something like the space shuttle, the space station, manned space vehicles in general are dealing with micro debris all the time. It probably depends on the nature of that debris. Big chunks are going to be an issue. If we can track them on radar, then we can try to avoid them. But at a certain point, there's just too many to avoid. And so you have to have, I suppose, armored spacecraft. Maybe it does become impossible from a safety standpoint. But our responsibility as Accion, well, when you see these constellations of satellites, constellation being a group of satellites that perform a mission together, going up that are hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of satellites, it really is just increasing the probability of a collision. And collision avoidance is where we can help. The international field of satellites has some agreements about what can be done in space. In the US, we have regulations around ensuring that when you launch a satellite, it's going to either be in a graveyard orbit or burn up in the Earth's atmosphere within, I want to say it's 25 years from when the mission of the satellite ends. And the FCC is currently considering additional regulations around maneuverability. Maneuverability is extremely important for collision avoidance. We can track these objects in space on radar, and predictively we can say, hey, these two objects are going to approach one another 5 days from now. 5 days, I think, is the standard for when we give people a heads up that their satellite is going to have a close approach with another object.
That's a stressful week.
Yeah. I've never been part of that, but I imagine so. Yeah. The problem becomes when you have these lower cost satellites where they tend to be smaller. And one of the big problems for maneuverability is that propulsion technologies for small satellites are not well developed. And that's where we're trying to help fill the gap.
We hope you enjoyed listening to that segment from the full episode with Louis Perna of Accion Systems. Look up Tough Tech today, like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We'd be happy to hear from you. Stay tough.